here. But no, I want my guys to do great. And the acclaim he's got and the acclaim JD gets is great. We have smart people.
You know who is not one of my guests tonight? That's Texas State Representative James Tallarico. He was supposed to be here, but we were told in no uncertain terms by our network's lawyers, who called us directly, that we could not have him on the broadcast.
Colbert says CBS bosses told him he could not broadcast an interview with Tallarico over concerns about the FCC's equal time rule, which requires political candidates get equal time on broadcast TV. Talk shows have been exempted for years. CBS is denying that it ever issued any such orders. Well, Colbert says he's still obliged, taking the interview off TV, posting it online. Well, it went viral, and now he's mocking CBS efforts of damage control.
You had a Democrat candidate who understood the way that the news media works. And he took advantage of all of your sort of prior conceptions to run a hoax, apparently for the purpose of raising money and getting clicks. And the news media played right into it. I think yesterday was a perfect encapsulation of why the American people have more trust in gas station sushi than they do in the national news media.
This TV drama is boosting Tallarico's campaign. It reports raising more than $2 million over the last 24 hours. Timing matters as early voting is underway in Texas.
FCC opening probe into The View after appearance by Tallarico. Do you mean to cause trouble?
I think that Donald Trump is worried that we're about to flip Texas.
So they told him he couldn't have James Tallarico on the show, or advised him not to. What did he do? Well, he basically started the show and said, you know who's not on my show? James Tallarico, because the lawyers told me I couldn't. And instead, I'm going to do an interview with him, and it's going to be on YouTube. And guess what? A lot of people watched it. I mean, over the course of all of the social media networks and places that people could watch, about 6 million people saw this interview, which is more than would have even seen on Stephen Colbert's show. So that didn't exactly work for them. The other thing that happened completely backfired, totally backfired.
You're censoring people over there now? You're afraid? You're on the verge of going after CBS?
Well, President Trump has been so far ahead of the curve on so many issues, as you noted, on the economy, on border security, and perhaps nowhere else, when he called out the legacy media for being fake news. And yesterday, the American people got to see that on full display. And it's why people have more trust and faith in gas station sushi today than they do in the legacy news media. This was Democrat on Democrat violence.
Click Tallarico's tweet on screen. He said the FCC banned our Colbert interview, and he's wrong about that. The FCC did not ban the interview, and that's what is actually so interesting about this. It's about the impression, the possibility of interference causing the networks to possibly self-censor.
The federal government did not shut down this segment, number one. That is my understanding, that the federal government didn't shut this down. Either Mr. Colbert or CBS decided that they was getting on the air, and that there may have been advice to just have me on, and then they could clear the issue.
I think Donald Trump's rise, Donald Trump himself is a symptom of a deeper disease in our society. I mean, how is it that a demagogue who promised to tear it all down was twice elected to the presidency on false promises? And it's because the system really is rigged. He's not unrigging it, he's re-rigging it for himself.
Running on empty, brain fog, can't focus, and those sugar-loaded energy drinks? Sure, they spike you fast, then crash you hard. Fix it with Soldier Fuel, the official energy drink of real America's voice. Soldier Fuel was born in the military to solve a real problem. Troops were relying on sugary drinks that wrecked performance, so they built a better option. Zero sugar and steady energy, powered by caffeine, taurine, and inositol, and extra B vitamins for clean energy and focus. No roller coaster crash. This isn't gas station hype. Soldier Fuel was built alongside the U.S. military and proven where it counts. Used by American soldiers and elite special operations.
This is really
And when you fuel up, you give back. 15% of profits go to pro-military charities. Scan the QR code, search for Soldier Fuel on Amazon, or go to buysoldierfuel.com and use promo code REALAmerica for 15% off. Welcome to Real America's Voice, Real Minute. Your quick look at the powerful stories of faith and freedom, inspiring audiences across the nation. Angel Studios presents.
I'm Bo Davidson with your Real America's Voice, Real Minute. Did you ever wonder what truly happened in the COVID-19 pandemic and whether Anthony Fauci would ever be held accountable? I think we all have. Filmmaker Jenner First has an upcoming documentary that searches.
Every day, there's a battle for your mind raging. Information coming from every angle with the will to deceive. Fear not. You found the place for truth. The voice of a generation that still has the will to believe in the greatest country in the history of the world. This is the Charlie Kirk Show. Buckle up. Here we go.
All right, welcome to the Charlie Kirk Show, February 19th, 2026. We're at the Bitcoin.com studios here in Phoenix, Arizona. Bitcoin.com, your one-stop shop to buy, sell, and trade Bitcoin. Check those guys out, Bitcoin.com. Blake, I woke up this morning and I was like, woohoo! Prince Andrew's been arrested. This is going to be great. We're going to get him on all the pedophilia stuff.
It's a bad day for Andrews.
Hopefully only one Andrew. Let's, a trend is a trend. A trend is a trend. A trend is a trend. Well, okay. Let's hope it's a good day for this Andrew and a bad day for Prince Andrew. So I thought that we were going to finally blow the doors open on this whole Epstein thing. I mean, literally, it's the first thing I looked at on my phone. My eyes are blurry. I'm just waking up. And unfortunately, it has nothing to do with anything, of sex trafficking of minors or any of the innuendo or the salacious stuff. It looks like Prince Andrew was arrested for forwarding documents, this according to the BBC, in 2010 related to his work as, I guess, let's see here.
British trade envoy.
Yeah, as a British trade envoy, but they have a specific title for him. UK Special Representative for International Trade and Investment. So it looks like in 2010, he sent over documents he forwarded them over to Jeffrey Epstein, documents that he obtained in his official duties as a trade envoy that included some investment opportunities in gold and uranium, and that's what they got him on. It's misconduct in a public office. Now,
it feels a lot like the famous Al Capone thing where he was involved in murders and bootlegging and every manner of crime, extortion, racketeering, and they got him because he didn't pay income tax on his illegal gains. And there's a lot of allegations against Prince Andrew of various levels of salaciousness, and he's been arrested for forwarding the email that is linked in the New York Times write-up.
Misconduct.
This is literally the text of the email that is linked in the New York Times. It is just a forward of an email he received from his assistant, Amit Patel. Sir, please find attached the visit reports for Vietnam, Singapore, Hong Kong, and Shenzhen in relation to your recent visit to Southeast Asia. Thank you, Amit.
So he forwards those over to Jeffrey Epstein. Apparently they included, like I said, gold and uranium investment opportunities, but essentially insider trading, which on the one hand does sort of, I think, shed a little light on how Epstein would make his money.
Yes.
He had inside sources. It's essentially insider trading at this point. Mm-hmm. If you get advanced intel on official head of state visits or heads of state, but official government agencies in this case, visiting foreign countries, getting intel on possible investments. Okay, so that's what it is. King Charles, so the brother of Prince Andrew, has released a statement. He says, I have learned with the deepest concern the news about Andrew Mountbatten Windsor, which is a very interesting title, and there is a backstory to why he's not called Prince Andrew or His Royal Highness, and we're going to explain that.
Years ago.
Stripped his titles, but he calls him Andrew Mountbatten Windsor, and suspicion of misconduct in public office. What now follows is the full, fair, and proper process by which this issue is investigated in the appropriate manner and by the appropriate authorities. In this, as I have said before, they have our full and wholehearted support and cooperation. Let me state clearly, the law must take its course. As this process continues, it would not be right for me to comment further on this matter. Meanwhile, my family and I will continue in our duty and service to you all, Charles R. All right, so this was then followed by all of these headlines. Throw up 525 from the Daily Mail, which is known to be a bit... What's the right word for the Daily Mail?
The Daily Mail is the best publication in the English language.
Okay.
But they are somewhat...
they rush to judgment. Their headlines...
They are sensationalist in the best way. They've covered Ilhan Omar, the incest story, her cheating on her husband. They get photos of everything.
So here's the way it works. A little inside baseball for you watching at home, because I've dealt with these scoundrels a lot,
You're talking about me?
No. That's next segment. They basically put these headlines into multiple, they feed it out into the internet, and they have A, B, C, D, E testing. And sometimes they use AI to create the biggest clickbait. They want to know what you're going to click on. So that's what Daily Mail does. That's their whole thing. You will get a headline that has nothing to do with the body of the article, but they learned through actual cause and effect, watching what you will click on, what gets the most clickbait. That is the whole game over at Daily Mail, is what headline can get you to click on it.
So what do they go
And they use
today?
AI. So they go, Trump faces furious Epstein backlash after Andrew detained. We have zero arrest. All right, so this is now you've got Thomas Massey, you've got Marjorie Taylor Greene, and a lot of others out on social media saying, well, they got Prince Andrew. Why haven't you done anything, Pam Bondi and Donald Trump? And so that is the case. But here's the crux. The assumption is the same assumption I made this morning, that they were going to get, that Andrew got arrested on pedophilia, on sex trafficking minors, something like this. There's Thomas Massey's tweet. That's not at all the case. He got arrested on a process charge for forwarding a document to Jeffrey Epstein in 2010 related to his official government
kind
duties.
of maybe alleged insider trading 16 years ago.
Correct.
Well, so technically official misconduct is what it is, which is a British offense. But I'm going to, it's going to annoy a lot of people, but I've got to push back on this. Like, as I like to read Michael Tracy on X because he gives a lot of pushback, and he points out, I think it's worth remembering, first of all, this is Britain. Britain's the sort of country where you get arrested for saying things people don't like on social media about migrants. It is a country that has a quite 1984-esque willingness to gin up charges for political reasons. And so, yes, like, Prince Andrew looks very bad because he was a big associate of Jeffrey Epstein, and that's gross, and he probably did it because he wanted to sleep with young women.
Yeah.
But at the same time, the main allegations against him came from Virginia Giuffre, which, as our guest the other week said...
Jay Beecher.
Yeah, Jay Beecher. She's a serial fabulous. She lied about a lot of people.
She's the one who, Virginia Giuffre, for our audience's sake, is alleged to have been the one that created this aura, this narrative about the list,
the narrative,
blackmail list.
To the extent underage women were recruited, she played a central role in that and encouraged them to lie to get. There's a lot of negative stuff there. So she's the source of a lot of these allegations. His alleged relationship with her is the basis for this, and yet in the UK, where they met, like, she actually was of legal age, according to British laws.
Yeah. Well,
and so that is what drove this. And so they are bringing this case because of big allegations. But I think it's worth remembering what the origin of this is. And then we go back to what the president himself said last summer. A lot of people are going to be getting tarred and hit for things that are running ahead of what the facts are, or where there's nothing proven. And we're kind of seeing this here, where they're howling, where are the arrests? What were the arrests before?
The comeuppance for Prince Andrew is that he was a dirty
old man.
Dirty old man. And, he showed some really poor judgment. What's funny also, though, is this clip from 2015 of President Trump has surfaced now, which I think is just fantastic. Once again, Trump just has this knack of coming out unscathed. 524.
You raised the question of Jeffrey Epstein in your remarks about in the Q&A.
Well, I think he's got a problem. I mean,
what do you think the problem will be?
I don't know, but that island was really a cesspool. There's no question about it. Just ask Prince Andrew. He'll tell you about it.
Just ask Prince Andrew. That's 2015. All right, guys, I want to tell you about our friends over at Strong Cell. If you've been listening in, you've heard us talk about Strong Cell, how it gives you energy for your cells. It literally has the power source for the mitochondria in your cell, which power all of your body cells. Here's our Strong Cell. This is our daily Strong Cell supplement use. Here we go.
Does it come in any flavors besides orange? We should ask them.
NADH has a proprietary delivery of an amazing enzyme called NADH. It's what makes strong cells so special. It's the power source, like I said, for all of your cells in your body. Go to strongcell.com today. Use promo code Charlie. You get a 90-day money-back guarantee, so you can try it completely risk-free. And if you use promo code Charlie, you'll get an additional 20% off. So there's zero risk, and you're getting 20% off. And this stuff will help you with brain fog, word recall, chronic fatigue, all the things. Strongcell.com, promo code Charlie. Check it out today. It's amazing. We'll be right back.
Running on empty, brain fog, can't focus, and those sugar-loaded energy drinks? Sure, they spike you fast, then crash you hard. Fix it with Soldier Fuel, the official energy drink of real America's voice. Soldier Fuel was born in the military to solve a real problem. Troops were relying on sugary drinks that wreck performance, so they built a better option. Zero sugar and steady energy, powered by caffeine, taurine, and inositol, and extra B vitamins for clean energy and focus. No roller coaster crash. This isn't gas station hype. Soldier Fuel was built alongside the U.S. military and proven where it counts. Used by American soldiers and elite special operations.
This is really good.
And when you fuel up, you give back. 15% of profits go to pro-military charities. Scan the QR code, search for Soldier Fuel on Amazon, or go to buysoldierfuel.com and use promo code REALAmerica for 15% off. Welcome to Real America's Voice, Real Minute. Your quick look at the powerful stories of faith and freedom, inspiring audiences across the nation. Angel Studios presents.
I'm Bo Davidson with your Real America's Voice, Real Minute. Did you ever wonder what truly happened in the COVID-19 pandemic and whether Anthony Fauci would ever be held accountable? I think we all have. Filmmaker Jenner First has an upcoming documentary that searches for truth, transparency, and accountability called Thank You, Dr. Fauci.
Governments lie.
Anthony Fauci put everyone on the planet at risk without their consent.
It's beyond suspicious.
Research caused a pandemic, killed 20 million, and cost $25 trillion. Fauci would prefer a lie.
Public trust, national health, and global security are at stake as this documentary digs through thousands of pages of documents and interviews with former officials and whistleblowers in the most controversial narrative of our time that may also be one of the largest cover-ups in modern public health history.
There was a cover-up.
Why would we trade the Chinese the most advanced biotechnology in the world?
He's a spy. It's insane.
I don't think this is going to be foolproof. Things are going to slip through.
Fauci knew and lied repeatedly.
Rather than being a partisan hit piece, Thank You, Dr. Fauci is an honest look at the origins of COVID-19 and a potential bioarms race with China. It streams exclusively on Angel Studios app and site starting on October 23rd. And all you need to do is go to angel.com/Rav to stream it. So be ready to watch, question, and share as the quest for truth and accountability continues.
Mama Love in northern Minnesota. You know, a collective voice is much louder than a single voice. Thanks, Rav, for giving me.
All right, welcome back to the Charlie Kirk Show, telling you about our friends over at YRefi, private student loan debt in the United States. Totals, Blake, can you remember?
It's 400 million US dollars.
300 billion US dollars.
400 billion, yeah, so whatever, billion, million.
And 45 billion of that is labeled as distressed or defaulted. So if you have yourself a nasty situation with your private student loan debt, you want to check out YRefi. They refinance distressed or defaulted private student loans that others simply will not touch. And here's the key. They provide you with a custom loan amount based on your ability to pay. They tailor each loan to each borrower's specific situation. You will not be calling some nameless, faceless call center. You're going to be calling real Americans right here in the city of Phoenix, actually, that have your back and that wake up every day to help you. That's what they do. They want to help you if you are distressed. If you personally are depressed or even suicidal, they have a ton of stories like that. You don't need to live like that. They're going to save you thousands. They're going to guarantee you interest rates under 6%. They'll even let you skip a payment every 6 months up to 12 times. Nobody's coming to bail you out. Bankruptcy is not an option with this. So you got to take charge of your situation. Go contact the good folks at YRefi, yrefi.com, 888-YRefi34. You can call them 888-YRefi34 or visit them at yrefi.com. Check them out today. May not be available in all 50 states. All right, so this is what's interesting about the Prince Andrew thing. So the news hits. Everybody jumps on Trump because, there has been no arrest over here. But what's interesting and different, I would say, about the Prince Andrew situation is two thoughts I want you to keep in your head at the same time. We have to be sophisticated consumers of information. First thought, none of this would happen if Pam Bondi had not released these documents in the first place. So there's one. The only reason this is happening is because the UK officials have access to documents that were released by the U.S. Department of Justice. So that's the thing you need to think of first. Secondly, we had Mike Davis on earlier this week, and he assured us that there are ongoing investigations into co-conspirators. Les Wexner was labeled as a co-conspirator in these documents. And who knows who else is being investigated. My money is on Reid Hoffman. Reid Hoffman has lied repeatedly about his associations with Jeffrey Epstein. He has funded some of the most nefarious, sinister attempts of lawfare to get Trump over and over and over again. Reid Hoffman is a marked man, in my opinion, by the Department of Justice. And thirdly, think of this. Prince Andrew is no longer Prince Andrew. He's no longer His Royal Highness. We call him that out of sort of a vestige of the royal past. But in 2022, in January, Queen Elizabeth II stripped him of the use of his style, His Royal Highness, HRH, in any official capacity. All of his military titles and royal patronages were returned to the Queen, effectively removed from him. This included honorary military appointments, such as Colonel of the Grenadier Guards, other UK titles like Honorary Air Commodore of the Royal Air Force, various overseas honorary colonel and chief roles, royal patronages, his charity affiliations. And then in 2025, so just last year, his brother, King Charles, removed the title Prince. And that included Duke of York, Earl of Inverness, and Baron Killyleagh. So all of these have been removed from him, and that was in October 17th. And then again, like I said, on October 30th, they officially removed the titular dignity of Prince, and that is why he will now forever be known as Andrew Mountbatten Windsor. So they have been on this Prince Andrew train for a long time, but it's the first arrest of a British royal, basically in living memory or in recent modern memory.
I think I saw somewhere where they said it was the first ever, and all I can remember is that they once beheaded a king.
I was going to say, I saw that that talking point as well, and yeah, it's like, okay. But at least in modern history, this is the first arrest.
I think it would be a very big, it would be very unfortunate if one of the world's oldest monarchies and one of its last really big monarchies were to fall over something like this, which it very much it might. There is a Republican movement in the UK to abolish it and just retire the royal family.
I think
it's definitely a movement in other countries. You know, a very funny thing is one of the biggest supports of the British royal family is not who you think. It's the Canadian left. Left-wingers in Canada like the British royal family because they hate America, and so they see having a royal family as something that makes Canada not America.
It's like a
Justin
pool.
Like when King Charles made his first visit after becoming king, Justin Trudeau went all out for it. He was a big fan of it. But it is a distinguished group. I think it's easy for us to dump on. I mean, we're America. We're a republic. We don't have kings. We shouldn't have kings. But as conservatives, we do respect and honor traditions, old things. We realize they have value that's not always obvious. And I think there is a real value in the fact that there has been a king or queen of England in London for over 1,000 years, that they are the descendants of those people who were there during the Blitz, who were there when Napoleon might have invaded, who were there when the Armada was sailing for England. Same line of people.
Well, and listen, I'm a big fan of the British royals. I think Western civilization needs institutions that stand up and that help guide the West back to a sense of its tradition, of its identity. But listen, there are things happening in the background at the DOJ that we just need to keep our eyes on. And we need to sort of say, listen, the wheels of justice turn slowly sometimes, but they are happening, okay? And again, I would mention the name Reid Hoffman. You've seen this just this morning that Bill Gates has dropped out of a speaking engagement due to increased scrutiny over the Epstein files. Kathy Rumler has stepped down at Goldman Sachs because of her connections to Jeffrey Epstein. It was worth mentioning that she was Obama's longest-serving White House counsel. So the DOJ's release of these documents, obviously spurred on by Ro Khanna and Thomas Massie, who have attempted to weaponize the release of these documents for their own political ends. It remains unclear what their ultimate intentions are here. But the whole point is that there is a very large faction of people that want to use these documents to get Trump. All right. And time again, as we saw in that 2015 document or the video, Trump comes out looking pretty darn good.
He looks amazing, actually.
Yes.
But it's, I think we should, again, be careful and run this. Like, yes, Bill Gates has stepped away from things, and Bill Gates should feel embarrassed. He was very clearly close with an individual who, regardless of what other crimes he committed, was a gross figure. It was just... It's ugly that he was so close with him, and we should feel that same way with Reid and a bunch of others, that they felt no shame about endlessly associating with a guy who basically, clearly, his life revolved around sleeping with teenagers. And many of them lied about this, but it's not illegal to lie about who you're friends with. It's illegal to lie under oath to law enforcement, but we don't know if he did. So we should remember that for a lot of people, this has become a political cause out of proportion to what is actually proven, what is actually provable. And yeah, more might be coming, but we should remember that there is we've been through a few rounds of lawfare in our time.
Alan Bakari joins us next. We're going to turn our sights to Meta and Google. We'll be right back.
This holiday season, Real America's Voice is proud to partner with our friends at Angel Studios for a special giveaway you won't want to miss. As they launch season 2 of their hit series Homestead, we're giving you the chance to win an exclusive Homestead hat absolutely free. Everyone who becomes an Angel Guild member using our link is automatically entered to the contest. When you join, you're supporting meaningful pro-American storytelling, and you're supporting RAV at the same time. Scan the QR code on your screen right now, or text the word RAV Angel to 75802. After you scan or text, make sure you follow the steps provided. When you complete the steps and join the Angel Guild, you'll be automatically entered to win that exclusive Homestead hat, a perfect holiday gift for yourself or someone you love.
Be one of the first 50 people to sign up and win a hat automatically. Hurry while there's still time.
So scan that QR code or text RAV Angel to 75802. Happy holidays from all of us at RAV.
Hey folks, it's your friend John Rich. I co-founded Old Glory Bank because we heard too many stories about people getting canceled by their bank because they didn't agree with their politics. The government wanted to know where you shopped. If you bought a Bible or you shopped at a sporting goods store, you're probably on a list. We created Old Glory Bank because America needed a bank that would protect their privacy and security. Exercising your constitutional rights is not a criminal activity, and neither is loving your country. At Old Glory Bank, we stand with you.
I'm a J6er. I spent 1,143 days in prison.
About a year in prison.
We were prosecuted, persecuted.
J6ers have been treated like terrorists.
And we need your help.
Stand in the Gap was founded to stand in the gap for J6ers working to rebuild their lives after being incarcerated.
For just $10 or more, you can help these patriots get back on their feet again. Every dollar you give is being matched up to $50,000. Go now to j6support.com and donate today.
Hello, this is Kurt. Why do I love RAV? You ever talk to the host? You can do that on RAV. And the RAV family, they'll talk back to you too. Let you know what's going on. Take care.
Hi, this is Chris from Colorful Colorado. I'm drawbridge in the Getter Chat. I trust no one for my news except Real America's Voice. So if anyone asks, I was never here.
My name is TJ Ash from Carbonville, Utah. Real America's Voice lets me express my conservative views without censorship or edit.
Welcome back to this Real America's Voice news break. I'm Terrence Bates. Dozens of world leaders and national delegations are in the nation's capital right now after meeting with President Trump for the inaugural gathering of Trump's Board of Peace. Today's meeting was held at the Donald J. Trump Institute of Peace, and it saw the commander-in-chief send a clear warning to the world's leading sponsor of terror, Iran.
And now is the time for Iran to join us on a path that will complete what we're doing. And if they join us, that'll be great. If they don't join us, that'll be great too. But it'll be a very different path. They cannot continue to threaten the stability of the entire region, and they must make a deal. Or if that doesn't happen, I maybe can understand. If it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen.
Ordered a naval and military buildup near Iran in the event of a strategic strike against the Islamic Republic. In the meantime, today's summit was attended by a delegation from the Middle East, which includes representatives from Israel, the United Arab Emirates, Saudi Arabia, Turkey, Jordan, and Qatar. Other attendees included Argentina, Paraguay, and Hungary. However, major European allies like the United Kingdom, Germany, and France have declined to join the group and even criticized the Board of Peace's founding. Pope Leo has also turned down President Trump's invitation to join that board. The commander-in-chief will continue his busy day with a visit to Rome, Georgia this afternoon. He'll visit Georgia's 14th congressional district as early voting in a special election to fill the seat vacated by Republican Marjorie Taylor Greene is underway. During today's stop, 47 will speak about the economy, inflation, and other key issues. He's also expected to visit a steel facility. Mr. Trump is endorsing prosecutor Clay Fuller and a crowded field of candidates to replace MTG. The race is expected to go into a runoff since it will be difficult for any candidate to win a majority with nearly 20 candidates in that race. Also, don't be surprised to see Georgia's Lieutenant Governor Burt Jones alongside the president today, as Jones is running for governor and already has Mr. Trump's endorsement. That's a quick check of your headlines. I'm Terrence Bates.
Security conference and speaking that way, that takes courage. The base would love it. He's very...
Hardest working radio show in the business, The Charlie Kirk Show.
All right, welcome back to The Charlie Kirk Show. I want to tell you guys about Good Ranchers. It's 250 years of freedom here in the United States. We're proud of that. We're proud of our country. And if you want to support the people that make this country work, you got to support our ranchers. I come from a rancher family, actually. 5th generation Nevada-born Italian ranchers. A lot of people think it's only the Mexican that makes me a little tanner. It's actually my Italian. So I'm a 5th generation Italian-born rancher, or Nevada-born rancher from Italian stock. And I will tell you what, ranchers are the best. And Good Ranchers takes care of ranchers. They only source their meat from American-made farms and ranches, American-owned, right here in the good old U.S. of A. And that's not just the meat. It's from the final seal on the box to the call centers. If you ever have questions, you call their customer support. Everything's here in America, and we love that about them. And here's what else is great. Every box you buy, they're going to donate a portion to veterans, which is amazing. So, as we head into this year meant to celebrate American culture, heritage, and the people who shaped it, Good Rancher stands right at the heart of that story. So, support them, support this show. Here's what happens. So, go to goodranchers.com and subscribe. I'm a subscriber. You get a box every month, or you could even do it more often than that if you eat a lot of meat. When you start your plan, you'll get to choose a cut of meat that will be included free with every order, and you'll get $100 off over the course of your first 3 orders. So you use promo code KIRK, K-I-R-K. So go to goodranchers.com, use promo code KIRK, and over the course of your first 3 orders, they're going to give you a $100 discount. $40 off the first, and then $30 off your next 2, totaling $100 off while you try Good Ranchers out. They're that confident you're going to love it. It's the only way to buy meat. I'm convinced of it now. I'm just hooked to the subscription model. Goodranchers.com, America Meat Delivered. All right, Alan Bakari, Foundation for Freedom Online. You've known him on this show for a number of years. He's come back and used to be with Breitbart covering all their digital stuff. Now he's with Foundation for Freedom Online and Mike Benz over at the good people there. So, Alan, we wanted to bring you in. Welcome back. We wanted to bring you in because there is this, they're calling it a bellwether case in Los Angeles Superior Court. And it involves a young woman And I guess, a lot of families are out there. A lot of families are linking hands outside of the courthouse, and they are alleging that social media is destroying their lives, getting them addicted, that it's engineered to be addictive, and that it's causing suicidal ideation, it's causing depression, and that they say that it has been intentionally designed this way. Alan, break down the court case here. What's being alleged? What are the defenses? Give us the 30,000-foot view.
Well, look, obviously social media is addictive in a way, and there have been complaints about addictive media for a long time. Before social media, there were similar complaints about TV and how that was ruining people's health. But I must say this framing that social media could be a health hazard is quite dangerous. And, asking social media to be less addictive is asking them to make their product less effective. They're an information product. And the big winner at the end of the day, if that happens, is going to be legacy media. So you always have to look at who stands to benefit from this framing of social media as a health hazard. It's other information services, especially the media companies that have been displaced by social media. Now, social media addictiveness is a real problem, and there are major concerns, genuine concerns about the effect on children. But when you have to pay attention to who's latching onto this cause, it's often progressive governments like the UK that are committed to online censorship, not because they care about children. The UK government, is embroiled in a scandal right now because one of their top appointees, Peter Mandelson, the former U.S. ambassador, was connected to Jeffrey Epstein. But what they see in this agenda, in this narrative about addictiveness and the harm that social media can cause to children, a potential Trojan horse for what they actually want, which is political censorship, which is punishing social media companies that don't ban who they don't like, that don't ban their political opponents. And then if you look around the world, governments are latching onto any excuse they can find. The EU is launching a probe into X over allegations about Grok being used to generate deepfakes. The UK has done the same thing. They even tried to team up with Australia and Canada to ban X over that issue. And why they're going after X? Because that's where all their political opponents are. That's where their narratives are being challenged. So when we think about the addictiveness issue, we have to think not just about the issue itself, but who's championing the cause and what the second order effects are going to be of designating social media a public health hazard. It will make it much easier to regulate, and much easier to regulate those algorithms that the establishment are really quite afraid of, because those algorithms are how citizen journalists can challenge mainstream media narratives.
Well, Alam, you're definitely right. It's very clear the British government, the German government, the French government, they want excuses to ban X, to fine X, and presumably other social media outlets that they are out of their control. But I think it's also clearly the case that a lot of these apps are designed to be addictive in a way that clearly is damaging young children's health. I think the rise of Facebook, Instagram, other social media is clearly correlated with young, especially teenage women's mental well-being going off a cliff. We can see that with the rise of the smartphone. And it strikes me that there must be some things that could be legally relevant here that don't put you in danger of widespread censorship. I think one of the most obvious is just doom scrolling, the infinite scroll that a lot of these apps use. That clearly seems to be linked to addictive behavior, and I don't see how banning that would immediately imperil speech. And I just go back to, you're almost certainly familiar with this, the famous Sean Parker comment all the way back in 2017, where he basically just got on a stage and said, we engineered the app to give you a little dopamine hit every once in a while because if someone liked or commented on a photo or a post or whatever, and it would get you in a feedback loop and you would be hooked on it.
Apparently we have that.
We do.
And that's what makes it a difficult issue.
Yeah, let's go ahead and play that Sean Parker clip.
If the thought process that went into building these applications, Facebook being the first of them to really understand it, that thought process was all about how do we consume as much of your time and and conscious attention as possible. And that means that we need to sort of give you a little dopamine hit every once in a while because someone liked or commented on a photo or a post or whatever. And that's going to get you to contribute more content, and that's going to get you, more likes and comments. I mean, it's a social validation feedback loop that it's like it's exactly the kind of thing that a hacker like myself would come up with, because you're exploiting a vulnerability in human psychology. And I think that the inventors, creators, and it's me, it's Mark, it's the Kevin Systerman, Instagram, it's all of these people understood this consciously, and we did it anyway.
That's super. I mean, that's very chilling, actually, to watch, that they intentionally engineered their platforms. To your point, they have a financial incentive to do so, Alan, to make their products as addictive as possible, to get you to spend as much time on those apps as possible. But this is hurting kids. So I guess I have a twofold question. What are the broader implications if this lawsuit is successful? They're calling it a bellwether. I can only imagine this is going to, if it's successful, it's going to result in billions of financial losses for these platforms. But secondly, let's concede the point that we would like to see some guardrails on these apps. What would be a positive outcome?
Well, I would always want to look at who's in charge of the regulations and who's in charge of the guardrails rather than what they necessarily are. I think conservatives really have to get involved and take charge of the child safety agenda, much like Adam Kandayev did when he was campaigning for age verification laws. He's now in the Trump administration at NTIA, because the problem is when you let progressives take on the child safety agenda, they're just going to use it as a smokescreen for political censorship. We've seen this so many times before. And it's a genuinely difficult issue because, social media apps are addictive, and they're particularly addictive for kids when, their brains are still developing. But you look at what foreign governments are doing, like the UK, France, Spain, many other countries, they're simultaneously trying to ban social media for kids, just a blanket ban, while also trying to lower the voting age to 16. So what they want really, and you see the end goal here, they want a voting demographic that's empowered to vote, but also doesn't have access to the social media platforms where mainstream pro-government narratives might be challenged, where they might encounter information that the government and their allied NGOs and civil society organizations and mainstream media organizations don't want to see. So that is the real danger. So when we're trying to protect kids from addictive social media, we also have to think about how can we make sure they still have access to that independent media ecosystem that exists on social media. And that governments around the world are working so hard to just completely shut down, because the same technology that makes social media addictive, that causes engagement, is the same technology that allows citizen journalists to go viral. That is the technology that governments around the world are so afraid of. The same technology that allows a random person to make a post, get millions of views, and share information that the media doesn't want to be shared, that NGOs don't want to see shared, the governments don't want to see shared. So that's the balance you have to strike, and it's a very difficult balance to strike. And we have to be constantly aware of these organizations that have an agenda that they're not telling you about when they talk about addictiveness. I want to say this: like the left thinks drag queen story hour is appropriate for children. They think gay pride parades are appropriate for children. They think gender reassignment surgery is appropriate for children. So we should not take any concerns coming from left-wing progressives about the dangers of social media to children and child welfare seriously. They don't really care about that issue. They care about political control. They care about control of the internet and social media platforms. And that is the danger here.
It's hugely tough. I will say, if you look at what they auto feed to children on YouTube, if you make a new child's account, you definitely start worrying about more, possibly some need for regulation. But thank you, Alan.
No, it's a fair point, though. Drag queen story hour point is really well made. For a lot of Americans, the healthcare system is reactive. That's right. You get sick and then you react and then you get help. You get sick, then you react. The insurance decides what you're allowed to have, and suddenly the medication you need is delayed or unavailable. That's where all family pharmacy is different. It is family-owned, works with licensed doctors, and is built around a simple idea. You should have the freedom to make informed choices about your own health and the ability to prepare ahead of time. So, with All Family Pharmacy, you can order prescription medications before you're sick, keep them at home, and have them ready when you need them most. Everything is done online. A licensed doctor reviews your request, and the medication is shipped straight to your door. They offer antibiotics, antivirals, Tamiflu, ivermectin, hydroxychloroquine, methylene blue, all that kind of stuff. So choose freedom, choose the right pharmacy. Go to allfamilypharmacy.com/Kirk, allfamilypharmacy.com/Kirk. Use promo code KIRK10 to save 10% on your next order. We'll be right back.
This holiday season, Real America's Voice is proud to partner with our friends at Angel Studios for a special giveaway you won't want to miss. As they launch season 2 of their hit series Homestead, we're giving you the chance to win an exclusive Homestead hat absolutely free. Everyone who becomes an Angel Guild member using our link is automatically entered to the contest. When you join, you're supporting meaningful pro-American storytelling, and you're supporting RAV at the same time. Scan the QR code on your screen right now, or text the word RAVAngel to 75802. After you scan or text, make sure you follow the steps provided. When you complete the steps and join the Angel Guild, you'll be automatically entered to win that exclusive Homestead hat, a perfect holiday gift for yourself or someone you love.
Be one of the first 50 people to sign up and win a hat automatically. Hurry while there's still time.
So scan that QR code or text RAVAngel to 75802. Happy holidays from all of us at RAV.
Hey folks, it's your friend John Rich. I co-founded Old Glory Bank because we heard too many stories about people getting canceled by their bank because they didn't agree with their politics. The government wanted to know where you shop. If you bought a Bible or you shopped at a sporting goods store, you're probably on a list. We created Old Glory Bank because America needed a bank that would protect their privacy and security. Exercising your constitutional rights is not a criminal activity, and neither is loving your country. At Old Glory Bank, we stand with you.
I'm a J6er. I spent 1,143 days in prison.
About a year in prison.
We were prosecuted, persecuted.
J6ers have been treated like terrorists.
And we need your help.
Stand in the Gap was founded to stand in the gap for J6ers working to rebuild their lives after being incarcerated.
For just $10 or more, you can help these patriots get back on their feet again. Every dollar you give is being matched up to $50,000. Go now to j6support.com and donate.
All right, welcome back to the Charlie Kirk Show. Final segment here in hour one. Hour two is going to be great. We're going to have a whole conversation about Virginia. What's happened in Virginia is very sinister. And then we're going to bring in Brendan Carr from the FCC to talk about the Colbert controversy, which it's just like a bunch of fake news. But anyways, in the interim, we wanted in hour one to get to the latest on Iran. President Trump is saying that he is going to make up his mind, a final decision about a strike on Iran within the next 10 days. But we are told that he is yet to make his final decision. J.D. Vance is simultaneously warning Iran, saying this is deadly serious and they better come to the table. So this is ongoing conversations that are happening in Iran. Meanwhile, President Trump is saying that he has yet to make up his mind. This all echoes very clearly what we saw in the 12-day war, where Trump said, I'm going to make up my mind in the next 2 weeks.
I feel when I saw that headline, I'll decide within the next 10 days, my immediate thought was he has already decided, frankly. Because that's what he did last time. And there's this element. You're going to decide within the next 10 days. Well, okay, you reach day 10 and you kind of know if he's decided by then, if he hasn't struck a deal, and then you kind of regress back from there. It's such a strange thing to announce.
It feels like a very Trumpian tactic. It's saber rattling. It's sort of saying, listen, if past is prologue, you know what I chose to do that time. I did strike. And, you know, I'm serious about this strike. Let's go ahead and play President Trump. He spoke about Iran just this morning, 5:38.
Our countries, nobody could have signed. You would have had that threat. Nobody could have had. You couldn't have had peace in the Middle East. So now we may have to take it a step further, or we may not. Maybe we're going to make a deal. Well, you're going to be finding out over the next probably 10 days.
Or it could be even if, you know, as you say, they remember what happened last time. When they hear 10 days, Iran should be hearing the planes are literally taking off right now, and you have 12 hours to decide.
He continues, 5:39.
Now is the time for Iran to join us on a path that will complete what we're doing. And if they join us, that'll be great. If they don't join us, that'll be great too. But it'll be a very different path. They cannot continue to threaten the stability of the entire region, and they must make a deal. Or if that doesn't happen, I maybe can understand. If it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. But bad things will happen.
All right. So again, this is very Trumpian.
If they don't join us, that'll be good too.
So here's things we know. Let's separate fact from fiction here. We know that there has been a very serious and significant buildup in recent days of military assets in the region. And this would include air and naval assets in the Middle East. But insider sources in the White House have told multiple outlets that Trump is privately argued both for and against military action. And he's polling advisors and allies on what the best course of action is. Now, here's the insider scoop, is that there are significant voices within the White House that are against military action. They're against foreign intervention. They stand firmly on the America First side, saying we don't want to invade Iran. We do not want a kinetic military strike in Iran. There are other voices that are very, very much chomping at the bit to do so. They see this as the one opportunity with the uprising, the organic uprising of protesters in the streets, to take out the mullahs, as Sean Hannity would say.
The mullahs.
The mullahs. So you've got competing factions within the White House. You've got the hawks and you got the doves.
It's like I said yesterday. I think what could be tilting him is have had several of these escalations over the past year. Mostly President Trump has pushed toward peace, but where they have done things, they did the strike on Iran. It was limited. It was successful. They did the raid in Venezuela. It was limited. It was very successful. And we had these reports that President Trump was asking for military operations that were like limited in scope, limited in duration, that had a very clear-cut thing. And so I think we agree Charlie did not want war with Iran. We are very skeptical of that. But what we have seen a pattern from the president is, in comparison to prior administrations, he is very resistant to scope creep. He's very resistant to open-ended missions. And so I think the president would be wise enough to say we don't want a bunch of troops occupying Iran. We don't want troops helicoptering into
Trump
cities.
is not going to telegraph his moves, though.
He won't.
What we can tell you is that based on the assets that have been moved into the region, it does not look like a ground force is part of the equation right now. It would be naval and airstrikes.
What we are getting is we're getting the resources for a much larger air campaign than we've seen before. That you have. They're sending all these F-22 fighters. So that's a bunch of fighters who could shoot down every jet that goes into the sky that they could send up.
F-35.
Send in enough bombers that you could actually, you're not just striking nuclear plants, you're hitting every military base, you're hitting every city. And I presume if that happens, the intent would be you bomb them until the government agrees to leave power. Now, can that be done if they are adamant about refusing to do so? How long would it go on? That is where it becomes a stickier question. How much resources are we willing to invest in toppling a government on the far side of the world? And politically, if we do it, even if it's successful, will they make the case that this is a good use of America's time, that it's justified? And I feel even in comparison to last summer, that might be the biggest challenge for the administration. If we were to go to war with Iran tonight, I think most Americans would be asking what had prompted it.
Yeah, we'll sum it up here. It is a political mess for the administration to go into the Middle East. It is much trickier from a polling standpoint, from a grassroots support standpoint, than actions in Venezuela. I understand the opportunity that has been presented by this popular uprising against the mullahs in Iran, and I understand the carnage that the regime has exacted upon the population of Iran. However, this is the Middle East. Regime change is always messier than you anticipate. And at some point, you have to ask the question, why? Why now? Is it just because Lady Graham is, working his magic, his charms in the ear of the president, or what is the deeper incentive? Now, the deeper incentive, President Trump will say, is to ensure that Iran does not have a nuclear weapon. Well, then if that is your incentive, then what's going on with the B-2 strikes that happened last summer? Were those effective or were those not effective?
You have to remember, for some people, they see this as maybe their last opportunity to get a regime change in Iran. You always have to be wary of that. Charlie had a lot of thoughts on this. We talked about it a lot. This is one of his tweets, 558. This is back in 2019. He said, "Lots of rumblings. We might be preparing a ground war with Iran. This would be a massive mistake. Sanctions, preventing funding, canceling Iran deal are all strategic good moves. But another ground war with U.S. troops is not the answer. End the endless, senseless wars." I think that ground troops line is the key one, and I think that would be a bright line for the president that I think he'll be wise enough not to cross.
Yeah, I mean, I think most of us feel assured of that. The question is how this is the largest buildup since 2003. And so, I mean, the voters have, all the polling says we're desperate for domestic reform and domestic focus. I hope we can do that. We'll be right back in hour 2. Don't go anywhere.
This holiday season, Real America's Voice is proud to partner with our friends at Angel Studios for a special giveaway you won't want to miss. As they launch season 2 of their hit series Homestead, we're giving you the chance to win an exclusive Homestead hat absolutely free. Everyone who becomes an Angel Guild member using our link is automatically entered to the contest. When you join, you're supporting meaningful pro-American storytelling, and you're supporting RAV at the same time. Scan the QR code on your screen right now, or text the word RAVAngel to 75802. After you scan or text, make sure you follow the steps provided. When you complete the steps and join the Angel Guild, you'll be automatically entered to win that exclusive Homestead hat, a perfect holiday gift for yourself or someone you love.
Be one of the first 50 people to sign up and win a hat automatically. Hurry while there's still time.
So scan that QR code or text RAVAngel to 75802. Happy holidays from all of us at RAV.
Hey folks, it's your friend John Rich. I co-founded Old Glory Bank because we heard too many stories about people getting canceled by their bank because they didn't agree with their politics. The government wanted to know where you shopped. If you bought a Bible or you shopped at a sporting goods store, you're probably on a list. We created Old Glory Bank because America needed a bank that would protect their privacy and security. Exercising your constitutional rights is not a criminal activity, and neither is loving your country. At Old Glory Bank, we stand with you.
I'm a J6er. I spent 1,143 days in prison.
About a year in prison.
We were prosecuted, persecuted.
J6ers have been treated like terrorists.
And we need your help.
Stand in the Gap was founded to stand in the gap for J6ers working to rebuild their lives after being incarcerated.
For just $10 or more, you can help these patriots get back on their feet again. Every dollar you give is being matched up to $50,000. Go now to j6support.com and donate. They tried to shut them up.
There's no guarantee to free speech.
They tried to cancel them.
Deplatforming works.
They even threw them in jail.
Peter Navarro,
Steve Bannon,
now in prison.
But they couldn't stop them.
There's not a prison built that will ever shut me up.
They call them rebels.
Basket of deplorables.
They call them rogues.
They claim to values or religion.
And they say they're outlaws.
These are the kind of guys you like to smack in the ass.
War Room presents Rebels, Rogues, and Outlaws.
You set out to take Vienna. Take Vienna!
The national bestseller by longtime Bannon producer Dan Fluette. Take a journey through the pictorial history of War Room. In a culture that celebrates the weak, show your support by standing with the rebels. Go to doitfluette.com or scan the QR code on your screen. Use the code RAV20 for 20% off your order. Stand with the rebels and never back down.
Welcome back back to this Real America's Voice news break. I'm Terrence Bates. President Trump is headed to Rome, Georgia right now as early voting is underway in that state's 14th congressional district. This is the president arriving at Joint Base Andrews just moments ago and boarding Air Force One to head south. A special election to fill the seat vacated by Republican Marjorie Taylor Greene is happening in Georgia. Today's trip comes on the heels of the president's morning inaugural meeting of the Trump Board of Peace, which is pushing the ceasefire between Israel and Hamas and rebuilding of Gaza. RAV correspondent and host of Breaking Point, David Zier, is in Georgia this afternoon waiting for the president's arrival. David, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Terrence. Yeah, we're here in Rome, Georgia, the 14th congressional district, the former seat of Marjorie Taylor Greene. 18 candidates lined up to run in a special election right around the corner on March 10th. Trump expected here at about 3 o'clock on the ground at Cusa Steel, a high-quality steel manufacturing plant here in Rome, Georgia. A lot of manufacturing down here as well. But early voting has started already in this special election to fill MTG's former seat, and it's going to be a test of the strength of MAGA on issues, immigration enforcement, the economy. And Trump received about 70% of the vote here in the past 3 presidential elections, and this congressional district is plus 19 in the red. But in this special election, there are 18 candidates. The top 2 will run off on each other if nobody gets the majority on April 7th. And then there's a primary again in May, Terrence, and which will be for the general election on November 3rd to continue whoever fills that seat here in the 14th district here. And Colton Moore, Clay Fuller, Jim Tully, Tom Gray seem to be leading the pack. I did an interview with Jim Tully outside here about an hour ago. In a straw poll, they received the most votes in a forum last week here. A tremendous amount of candidates here. Trump is expected to endorse Clay Fuller, who's a district attorney, I believe, at Lookout Mountain area here. Clay Fuller is also Jim Tully's also from this area here in the 14th district, a local businessman as well. But Trump expected to make remarks on the economy, Iran, and other here. Busy day on the ground, big turnout for Donald Trump.
Absolutely. One has to imagine that the president is going to address Iran, particularly coming to Georgia on the heels of that inaugural Board of Peace meeting there in Washington, D.C. The president addressed Iran there. And so one has to imagine that he'll follow it up with some remarks about that issue as well.
He probably will. I was at the White House when he authorized the first bombing of Iran with Israel on that extraordinary mission going over there, and he didn't let any of his cards to be shown. He walked right past us on the South Lawn on his way to Bedminster, and by the time he came back, the strikes were launched. So he's good at playing that, that angle where not showing too much, keeping people guessing here, and the size and scale of these strikes are important. They're also important to voters. What length should we go? A regime change, bombings abroad, and if it's quick and effective and decisive, like the Venezuela operation, I think it'll be very successful for him. But definitely expected to address it here. Right. And I just wanted to add, I spent 7 years on the road following Trump, and nobody was a more fierce campaigner for Donald Trump than MTG down in the South and other parts of the country. She was everywhere for him. She's still beloved in this district down here, and I think that this race, whoever wins this race for the congressional seat, may be an indicator of where people come down on this issue.
David, 20 seconds. President Trump is going to be at that steel plant there. He, of course, has talked a lot about American steel and bringing it back.
Well, it's important, and he's brought back about $19 trillion in production and manufacturing commitments nationwide. It's going to be a big year for the United States with the economy on the rebound, and I did man-on-the-street interviews with the people outside here, and the majority of people think the economy is coming back and rebounding, and it's getting a little easier for them.
All right, David Zier, we appreciate your reporting on the ground there in Georgia as President Trump is en route and will be there in short order. We'll have live coverage here on Real America's Voice throughout the day.
And this
holiday season, Real America's Voice is proud to partner with our friends at Angel Studios for a special giveaway you won't want to miss. As they launch season 2 of their hit series Homestead, we're giving you the chance to win an exclusive Homestead hat absolutely free. Everyone who becomes an Angel Guild member using our link is automatically entered to the contest. When you join, you're supporting meaningful pro-American storytelling, and you're supporting RAV at the same time. Scan the QR code on your screen right now, or text the word RAV Angel to 75802. After you scan or text, make sure you follow the steps provided. When you complete the steps and join the Angel Guild, you'll be automatically entered to win that exclusive Homestead hat, a perfect holiday gift for yourself or someone you love.
Be one of the first 50 people to sign up and win a hat automatically. Hurry while there's still time.
So scan that QR code or text RAV Angel to 75802. Happy holidays from all of us at RAV.
Hey folks, it's your friend John Rich. I co-founded Old Glory Bank because we heard too many stories about people getting canceled by their bank because they didn't agree with their politics. The government wanted to know where you shopped. If you bought a Bible or you shopped at a sporting goods store, you're probably on a list. We created Old Glory Bank because America needed a bank that would protect their privacy and security. Exercising your constitutional rights is not a criminal activity, and neither is loving your country. At Old Glory Bank, we stand with you.
All right, welcome back to the Charlie Kirk Show. Hour 2 is underway. We are going to keep our eyes on Virginia. Why? Because Virginia is now Democrat playbook. It's the Democrat playbook. We used to talk about the playbook in Colorado, how they turned Colorado blue. Well, they're doing the same thing in Virginia, even though it was only a D+6 state in the last presidential election. They're going full commie there. And here to help us break down what's happening with the redistricting fight in Virginia is Glenn Sturtevant, Virginia State Senator. Welcome to the show, Glenn.
Hey, guys. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Blake, why don't you break down the stakes here for us?
Of course. So just to remind people what's going on in Virginia, they ran as affordability-focused moderates, and now they've won. They want to redistrict the state from, I believe it's 6-5 Democrat Republican right now, and they want to make it 10-1 in a state that is blue, but not by that big of a margin. And so you can look up their maps, and it's a bunch of snakes extending out of D.C. because they all need their chunk of Arlington, Alexandria, Fairfax County, the big blue area. But Glenn, we wanted to have you on specifically. Among other things, we just want people to be aware of how far Democrats are willing to go to pass this sort of thing. The understanding I've been given is it's essentially flagrantly unconstitutional what they are doing, the way they're going about this. They're getting the Supreme Court to sign off on things that are incredibly suspect, basically for the sake of pure power politics. Can you lay that out for our listeners?
Yeah, sure. So 5 years ago, we had a referendum on the ballot to go to a nonpartisan redistricting commission to take gerrymandering out of the hands of legislators and to create this nonpartisan redistricting commission. And people can debate the pros and cons of that method, but that's what we have had for the past 5 years in Virginia and is in our Constitution. The Democrats brought us back in special session right around Halloween of last year and began jamming through this amendment to the amendment, which would take gerrymandering back, give it back to the legislature for the drawing of 11 congressional maps in Virginia. As you mentioned, we currently have pretty evenly divided congressional delegation with 6 Democrats and 5 Republicans. That lines up pretty well with how Virginia voted in the 2024 presidential election. I think Kamala got 55 and President Trump got 45. So our current congressional maps match up with how Virginia votes in a statewide federal presidential election. They began advancing this constitutional amendment process, though, as I said, around Halloween. But the early voting in Virginia, we have some of the longest early voting of any state in the entire country. We've got 45 days of early voting. Early voting had already begun in our gubernatorial election leading up to this past November. And the Virginia Constitution requires that there be essentially 2 elections before before a constitutional amendment can be sent to the voters as a referendum. And because Democrats had started this process after early voting had already started and 1 million Virginians had already voted, they didn't have the ability to assess their state house candidates based on where they stood on this amendment. So long story short, Democrats have continued to strong arm that amendment process. We filed a lawsuit and we prevailed in the trial court. The trial judge found that Democrats had violated the Constitution and several provisions of Virginia law and how they went about doing this. And of course, Democrats who are represented by the Mark Elias law firm, they appealed that to the Virginia Supreme Court. And then we just found out last Friday that the Virginia Supreme Court is taking the appeal. So they're going to address the legal arguments. But what they said is that they're not going to hear the case and decide it until after the referendum vote, which is currently scheduled for April 21st. So
I want to pause there. I want to pause there, Glenn, and just emphasize that for our listeners, that this referendum, a lower court judge has said it is illegal and it should not proceed, but they're going to let it go ahead anyway before ruling on whether it's legal or not. There's this insanity to it because you just know once, let's say it passes, which they'll do everything in their power to pass it, then the Supreme Court has this excuse, well, we can't roll back this referendum and overturn the will of the voters. And I want to also read the text of the ballot question. This is what their Secretary of State has apparently decided is a fair ballot question to go from 6-5 to 10-1. This is the text. Should the Constitution of Virginia be amended to allow the General Assembly to temporarily adopt new congressional districts to restore fairness in the upcoming elections while ensuring Virginia's standard redistricting process resumes for all future redistricting after the 2030 census? Should we pass this law to restore fairness? Don't you? You love fairness, don't you?
Yeah. Well, so that was ballot language that passed the Democrat-controlled General Assembly and that our new Governor Abigail Spanberger, signed. And what is timely about that is we filed a second lawsuit. So once the Virginia Supreme Court said, we're going to take up this appeal, but we're not going to decide it until after the referendum happens, which, as you mentioned, is putting a lot of pressure to just accept the outcome, regardless of the legal merits. But a second lawsuit was filed, and they are actually in a hearing as we speak in Tazewell County. One of the issues in that new lawsuit is that ballot language, and that it's obviously just a total joke and not a reasonable representation of what this constitutional amendment would do. So we will see if the Supreme Court of Virginia hopefully does the right thing, if they get another bite at the apple if we're successful in this trial court again and it goes up on appeal to the Virginia Supreme Court. I think most fair-minded people, regardless of where you stand on it, recognize that the judicial branch exists for cases like this. If you have a legislature that is breaking the rules, not playing by the playbook, violating the Constitution and the rule of law, the whole reason we have a Supreme Court is to address issues like that. And when they punt a case like this, it's very concerning.
Glenn, what is the ideological balance of that Supreme Court? Is there any indication?
So in Virginia, the legislature, the General Assembly, appoints all of our judges from the Supreme Court on down. And so I think most people would look at it, not that the judges have any particular ideology, but there are 4 that have been appointed under Republican legislatures and 3 that have been appointed under Democrat legislatures. And so it's, again, concerning. I'm a lawyer myself in my day job, in addition to serving in the state Senate. And the fact that we have a trial court that said this is unlawful, it should not proceed. The Supreme Court has recognized that it's at least worthy of hearing the appeal, but to not hear it before the referendum doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
Yeah. Well, thank you. And we just wanted to highlight this because this is how far they're willing to go. They're very much stretching the limits, breaking the limits of what their Constitution says. Meanwhile, we've seen our Republicans in Indiana with no constitutional barriers, just didn't want to do their maps, didn't feel like it, made them feel icky. These are the stakes, and they're doing this along with all the other radical bills they're doing in Virginia. Thank you, Senator Sturtevant. We're going to do our best to support you. If you're in Virginia, make sure you vote in this referendum.
That's right.
Thank you for coming on again.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Glenn. I want to tell you guys about Balance of Nature. The ingredients label is amazing on Balance of Nature. It's just fruits, just veggies, and nothing else. No additives, no dyes, no preservatives, nothing but the original fruits and veggies. And if your health is everything to you, which it should be, you want to check out Balance of Nature. The fast-paced lifestyle that so many of us are living right now demands that we stay in good shape, that we stay on our game. That's why Balance of Nature's Whole Health System Supplements is the place to go. Balance of Nature's Whole Health System Supplements include 47 ingredients of 100% whole fruits, veggies, spices, and fibers. And this is, this is the other good part about it. You can take it with you, experience it yourself, take it on the go. The amazing balance of color, taste, and smell. It's an essential product that I trust, and you can too. And you got to deal with Balance of Nature. You can lock in 50% off for 1 year when you subscribe to the Whole Health System Supplements as a preferred customer. Go to balanceofnature.com. Do it today, balanceofnature.com. We'll be right back.
This holiday season, Real America's Voice is proud to partner with our friends at Angel Studios for a special giveaway you won't want to miss. As they launch Season 2 of their hit series Homestead, we're giving you the chance to win an exclusive Homestead hat absolutely free. Everyone who becomes an Angel Guild member using our link is automatically entered to the contest. When you join, you're supporting meaningful pro-American storytelling, and you're supporting RAV at the same time. Scan the QR code on your screen right now, or text the word RAVAngel to 75802. After you scan or text, make sure you follow the steps provided. When you complete the steps and join the Angel Guild, you'll be automatically entered to win that exclusive Homestead hat, a perfect holiday gift for yourself or someone you love.
Be one of the first 50 people to sign up and win a hat automatically. Hurry while there's still time.
So scan that QR code or text RAVAngel to 75802. Happy holidays from all of us at RAV.
Hey folks, it's your friend John Rich. I co-founded Old Glory Bank because we heard too many stories about people getting canceled by their bank because they didn't agree with their politics. The government wanted to know where you shopped. If you bought a Bible or you shopped at a sporting goods store, you're probably on a list. We created Old Glory Bank because America needed a bank that would protect their privacy and security. Exercising your constitutional rights is not a criminal activity, and neither is loving your country. At Old Glory Bank, we stand with you.
I'm a J6er. I spent 1,143 days in prison.
About a year in prison.
We were prosecuted, persecuted.
J6ers have been treated like terrorists.
And we need your help.
Stand in the Gap was founded to stand in the gap for J6ers working to rebuild their lives after being incarcerated.
For just $10 or more, you can help these patriots get back on their feet again. Every dollar you give is being matched up to $50,000. Go now to j6support.com and donate today.
Hello, this is Kurt. Why do I love RAV? If you ever talk to the host, you can do that on RAV. And the RAV family, they'll talk back to you too. Let you know what's going on. Take care.
Hi, this is Chris from colorful Colorado. I'm drawbridge in the Getter Chat. I trust no one for my news except Real America's Voice. So if anyone asks, I was never here.
My name is TJ Ash from Carbonville, Utah. Real America's Voice lets me express my conservative views without censorship or edit.
Elections have consequences. They certainly do. So just to kind of finalize the point on our Virginia discussion, where the Virginia Democrats are showing just how far they're willing to go and exercise their power, even with just a D+6, Boeing has announced it's moving its defense HQ from Virginia after Governor Spanberger's election. Okay, so that's a huge loss to the local economy. Top defense contractor announces major move weeks after Dem governor takes office. It's a win for the heartland. It says the company said it is moving its multi-billion-dollar investment in the world's most advanced combat aircraft production facilities to St. Louis. So, listen, you're going to enact anti-business tax regulatory burdens on companies. They're going to move. And that's not the only institution that is thinking about moving. And we just had to cover this story because Charlie loves Chicago. Charlie's from northern suburbs of Chicago in Wheeling, Illinois. Grew up a big Bears fan. And it looks like the Bears...
The Chicago Bears are becoming the Gary Bears?
They could be moving. It looks, I think it's still ongoing. Nothing's been decided yet, but more and more likely that they will be moving to northern Indiana, which is a remarkable turn of events if that was going to happen. It's about an hour and a half drive for some people to get to the new stadium.
It would be a half hour from Soldier Field with no traffic.
27 miles from Soldier Field, which is just a remarkable thing. Let's go ahead and play Mayor Brandon Johnson, the communist, talking about this. 5:59.
Is my face straight? Okay. All right, let me keep a straight face here. The Bears belong in the city of Chicago. The Chicago Bears belong in the city of Chicago, right? And I've said repeatedly that the door is always open for conversations, Kevin Warren did call me yesterday. We didn't get a chance to connect, and I still firmly believe that their best position is in Chicago, and it's evidence. The evidence is clearly speaking for itself.
We've got old Charlie tweet. He was a big, long Bears fan. You can cycle through those, Bears, that's what you get for poor management and terrible coaching. Cutler got what he deserved. What an awful call. #Bears. Fantasy advice. Find the team playing the Bears. Trade for their defense and start them. He was a long-suffering Chicago Bears fan. Yeah. And so I, of course, am a Packers fan. I'm very torn here because, on the one hand, I am a Packers fan, so I enjoy seeing the Bears lose. I enjoy seeing them get humiliated a little. But at the same time, it feels weird to say. I think the mayor's correct. The Chicago Bears, they should play in Chicago. They should at least play in Illinois. There's something fundamentally messed up when a team is not even in the correct state of who they supposedly represent. There's something way off about that.
I feel the same about the San Francisco 49ers.
Yes.
They're playing in Santa Clara, which is a massive drive. It's so far away from San Francisco, but we still call them the San Francisco 49ers. At least
the New England Patriots aren't the Boston Patriots anymore. Did you know that their stadium is literally closer to Providence, Rhode Island, a different major city, than it is to Boston? It's that far out of the city. Yeah. And
I think it's an unfortunate thing. Listen, though, but this is what happens when you have an incompetent local government that can't put business first, can't put its own citizens first. They had bought land in Chicago years ago, planning to develop that land and upgrade from Soldier Field. Now, we could have lots of commentary around the fact that, should local governments be supporting their local teams? Should it be this sort of, it's an intermix of private and,
let's just say it. It's
public
gross.
funds?
It never pays off to spend as much as these cities did on what is a private for-profit endeavor in every case, except the Green Bay Packers. It's a mega billionaire who owns these teams, and their values have gone up massively over time, in large part because they get
local government.
Huge subsidies. You'll get cities that will spend $1 billion, $2 billion to build a stadium that is then all the profits go to a private actor. And then in 20 years, they say, oh, it's out of date. We need to blow it up again. Give me another $2 billion or I'm going to move the team to San Antonio.
But this is just the competition that they have to deal with. Mike Braun, the governor of Indiana, is saying, come over to Indiana. We want your business. They're passing the House Ways and Means Committee unanimously passed an amendment bill, Senate Bill 27, creating a framework for Northwest Indiana Stadium Authority that would enable bonding, land acquisition, and financing for a new stadium. So they're rolling out the red carpet for these. Meanwhile, Chicago's like, we want you to stay, but only so much. And by the way, we sort of resent you because you're rich and we're not going to roll out the red carpet. The problem is, yeah, you could say that it's gross, these public-private partnerships, but there's always somebody willing to take your business, and they're willing to roll out the red carpet. So listen, if you want to compete, you got to compete. This is the problem with Democrats in general, is they're not willing to think business first, business minded.
I think above all, it's a sign of how we can't, in cities, you just can't build anything anymore. To build a city, it's the endless legal, regulatory, environmental roadblocks. And then if you finally do build it, it takes longer than expected. It costs way 2 or 3 times more than it should. Every stadium, look them up, every stadium in inflation-adjusted dollars, something built in 1960 that cost $5 million then, and it would cost $50 million today. And then the replacement stadium will seat fewer people, and it will cost $3 billion.
Well, so it's not finalized yet. More due diligence, negotiations, and approvals are needed. But insiders are saying it's close to an inevitability that the Chicago Bears are moving to Indiana.
Gary Bears. You just take out the R, and you'll get how this really is.
The Gary Bears. The Gary Bears, like the Care Bears.
We have one more sports thing that we should flag.
We should hit it. But by the way, they say Illinois. It's an inevitability if Illinois does not counter strongly. So, balls in your court. You are on offense if you want it. Actually,
meanwhile, this is a quick 60-second blitz. ESPN is getting rid of America's pastime. This would appall Charlie, too. He wasn't as big of a baseball fan as football.
He loved the Cubs,
or basketball.
We often had the Cubs.
He loved the Cubs, and he loved America, so he'd love America's game. So ESPN is nixing Sunday Night Baseball, and they are replacing it with Women's Sports Sundays, which will spotlight matches in the WNBA and the NWSL. I don't know what that is, but I assume it's women's softball, and I refuse to Google it. And I have a better nickname for it, which is ESPN's lowest ratings ever Sunday.
It's just a fascinating turn of events that ESPN would voluntarily put itself in a position to lose money and ratings and viewers. Okay, listen, in fairness, the WNBA the ratings have improved, but that is not an excuse to get rid of America's pastime.
Andrew, would you rather find a dime on the sidewalk or have your local NWSL team win the championship?
I'd rather find a dime on the sidewalk.
The answer is I don't know if we have an NWSL team.
Yes, the right answer. Here's the thing: the ESPN used to be appointment viewing for young men. You would watch it in the mornings, Sports Center. You would watch it on the weekends on a rainy Saturday. And now you're getting like feminism drivel. And it's unfortunate for all of us. It's unfortunate for the country. We'll be back.
The world doesn't slow down because you're tired. And weakness gets exposed. That's why the best take Go Pills. Born for military performance, built for high-pressure days when your brain has to move faster than the chaos. This is neurotransmitter support, helping your mind fire clean signals so you can process data fast, decide fast, and stay locked in when it matters. Packed with safe, proven ingredients designed to boost cognitive performance so you stay sharp under pressure. The most badass military in the world uses this kind of energy every day. Now you can too. From training to eliminate America's enemies to smoke-checking terrorists, Go Pills keep the mission fueled. Real world tested by high-level tactical communities. Now available to you. Greenlight the beast inside. Pop a Go Pill. Scan the QR code or go to gopills.com and use promo code REALAmerica for 15% off. Now is the moment to put your brand in front of an engaged, loyal audience through Real America's Voice. When you advertise on Real America's Voice, you're not just running an ad, you're partnering with trusted voices like Steve Bannon, Charlie Kirk, and other influential hosts. Backed by millions of monthly listeners.
What's happening? Because of a real voice, man. I watch it all the time.
Real America's Voice rocks.
Real America's Voice gives sponsors the chance to put their product front and center, displayed on screen and highlighted by our anchors during exclusive segments and live events.
Head to freetrumpknife.com.
This means your brand becomes part of the conversation as it happens.
Secure your spot before it's too late.
Join us today and make your brand part of the news conversation that America's viewers trust. Real America's Voice, where your message is seen, heard, and remembered.
it's Stacy from Texas. I watch Real America's Voice because I need to learn, and I know I can get the truth through Rav. God bless everyone, and always love the children. Amen.
Hi, I'm Chris from Illinois. We like to watch Real America's Voice in the War Room with Stephen K. Bannon for all the great guests. Everyone from Kerry Lake, the great Frank Gaffney, Trump 24, Retribution.
I'm Lou, Mega Pilot from Rav's Getter Chat here in beautiful Trump County, Florida. The best place for real news is Real America's Voice.
Disputes, inflation, rising national debt, digital currency. There's a never-ending list of reasons why gold has risen over 700% in the last 20 years. There's also a never-ending list of reasons why smart Americans are diversifying a portion of their savings into precious metals with the Birch Gold Group. More than any other commodity on earth, gold thrives during times of uncertainty, which is why it's a crucial part of a balanced strategy for investments. It gives you peace of mind given all the events that could impact the U.S. economy. So see if holding gold in a tax-sheltered retirement account is the right thing for you. The Birch Gold Group can help you convert an existing IRA or a 401k into an IRA in gold. All you have to do is text the word America to the number 989898 and receive your free information kit on gold. There's no obligation here, just useful information. With an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau and tens of thousands of satisfied customers, allow the Birch Gold Group to help you diversify with gold so that you too can have peace of mind regardless of the uncertainty around you. Text America to the number 989898. Again, text America to the number 989898 today. Terrence Bates here with your Real America's Voice news break. Thanks so much for being here with us. President Trump headed to Rome, Georgia right now after boarding Air Force One just a little while ago. He's headed to Georgia's 14th congressional district as early voting in a special election to fill the seat vacated by Republican Marjorie Taylor Greene is underway there. This is the president getting out of the Beast and heading on up the stairs here momentarily into Air Force One. The president is set to speak at a steel plant this afternoon. Mr. Trump is endorsing prosecutor Clay Fuller in a crowded field of candidates to replace MTG. That race, by the way, is expected to go to a runoff since it's going to be difficult for any candidate to win a majority with nearly 20 candidates in the race. We're also monitoring a developing story out of the United Kingdom where the former Prince of England, Andrew Mountbatten Windsor, is under arrest on suspicion of misconduct in public office. The timing of his arrest this morning is notable given that it is his 66th birthday. That's a quick check of your headlines.
Democracy lives in light. The Charlie Kirk Show.
All right. If you have been paying attention to this Colbert hoax stuff about the FCC, you're going to want to tune in. We have Brendan Carr from the FCC, chairman of the FCC, on in just a second. He's going to explain it all. But first, I'm going to tell you about our friends over at Patriot Mobile. I love Glenn Story and Jenny Story, the folks that run Patriot Mobile. They are good Americans, great supporters of this show, great supporters of Turning Point. They have set up a company that is the only Christian conservative wireless provider in the country. And they work with all three big major wireless. You get the same everything. The same great service that you've become accustomed to, great signal. They got mobile hotspots, data plans, unlimited data plans, international roaming. They got all the things. So you don't have to lose anything when it comes to service. Actually get better service because it's all American customer service, all American folks. But here's the thing. When you spend your money, you have to know where that profit is going. And guess what Patriot Mobile does? They pour it into groups like Turning Point. They pour it into shows like this. They support 2A. They support our first responders. They support veterans. This is the company for you. There's no reason not to switch, so just make the switch today. Go to patriotmobile.com/Charlie, patriotmobile.com/Charlie, or call 972-PATRIOT and use promo code Charlie for a free month of service. So you keep your service, keep your phone number, or get a new one. All you have to do is go to patriotmobile.com/Charlie, patriotmobile.com/Charlie, or call 972-PATRIOT today. Please support those good folks and support companies that support our values. Without further ado, Brendan Carr, chairman of the FCC, joins us now. Brendan, this is I think for the average person watching at home, this has been a very confusing story that they've seen play out. Seems like James Talrico is getting the benefit of it. He's raising all this money off of it. So here's the allegation. I want you to confirm or deny its veracity. The FCC strong-armed CBS, said you cannot have James Talrico on the air at Colbert or else we're coming
the way they summarize it, they basically just they pulled a gun and they're like, you can't have him on.
Exactly. You guys are the mean bullies saying Colbert can't have James Talrico on the air. What is true and what is fiction?
Well, look, as soon as I found out that Talrico was going to be on, I went down to the bowels of the FCC, the Media Bureau. I found the dump button. I pushed it, and I said, these are MAGA airwaves now. You can't run that on here. No, the reality is I woke up Tuesday morning, and I saw on social media that the FCC had allegedly refused to air an interview. And this has been just so amazing to watch in terms of why everyday Americans have lost so much trust in the legitimacy of the legacy media. So the claim was made by a politician that the FCC refused to air an interview, which simply did not happen. And then the claim was, well, it was CBS that refused to air the interview. And then CBS came out and said, no, again, that didn't happen. All we said was we provided guidance, CBS claims, to how they could do the interview on broadcast TV and comply with all appropriate regulations. But instead, you saw Colbert and Talrico do that meme where you take a stick and poke it in your own front spokes of your bicycle, fall down, and claim that they have been the victims. And the reason this worked is because they knew that the predisposition of the legacy media would be that they would eat this up. And they did. They eat it up like slop, and it ended up boomeranging on them. The real issue here is this is Dem-on-Dem violence. This is one politician in a Dem primary trying to get a leg up and clicks up and donations up as compared to another Democrat. So this is Dem-on-Dem violence that they're just trying to merchandise as having something to do with Trump or the FCC. And again, it had zero to do with us. I learned about this totally after the fact.
That's amazing. You found out about it on Twitter, like so many people. Yeah. So, okay, this is the way I understand it. And again, confirm or deny. This only applies to, at this point in the calendar, because we're in primary season, Dem versus Dem. So if the equal time rule is basically that James Talrico goes on, well, then Colbert has to at least extend an invitation to, what's her name? Jasmine Crockett. And that's all that this says. So you just at least have to invite her on equal time. Is that essentially right? You're not alleging, the FCC is not telling CBS and CBS is not telling Colbert that they need to go have John Cornyn and Paxton on as equal time. It's just relevant to the Democrat primary.
That's essentially right. So if you step back, broadcast TV, broadcast radio is fundamentally different than any other form of distribution of program. It's different than online. It's different than YouTube. It's different than cable. If you have a broadcast license, there's special, unique things you have to do because you got the license for free. It's a valuable public resource, and the government is excluding other people. So they're excluding other people, which means it's a public trustee model. You need to look out for the interests of everybody. Okay, that's the baseline. Then there was a particular rule, a statute actually, that Congress passed that said, if you're going to have a legally qualified candidate on the air, you have to your point, extend an offer to all other legally qualified candidates. Doesn't need to be the same program, doesn't need to be the same host. If for some reason Colbert doesn't want to have Crockett on, he doesn't have to do that. It's just at some point they've got to offer a comparable time. That's the baseline. Now, there's an exception to that rule. And the exception is if you are what's defined in the statute as a bona fide news program. If you are a bona fide news program, meaning, I guess, not fake news, then you don't need to comply with equal time. And the idea there was Congress was thinking about, Meet the Press and other sort of hard-hitting journalistic shows where the hosts weren't trying to put a thumb on the scale for one particular candidate or one particular party. And over the years, the FCC issued decisions that people read as effectively having the exception swallow the rule, meaning anything that goes on broadcast TV, whether it's daytime, nighttime, is itself bona fide news and doesn't have to comply. And what we've told people is, no, that's not the law. Follow the law. If you haven't established your bona fide news, give people equal time. But to your point, Colbert did not have to have anyone else on that program. He could have run it, and all you have to do is put a file a filing in your public file, which broadcasters have, that said, we allowed airtime for this candidate. If there's another candidate out there, come talk to us and let's see if we can work something out. That's all they would have been required to do.
Oh, well, they are turning it into like World War III over here, that you guys are the biggest, baddest bullies. So let's go ahead. This is what's funny to me, too, is that you've got, Mr. Potato Man, Brian Stelter chiming in. You've got Jen Psaki, and they're all parroting this hoax. It's amazing. 507. This is Brian Stelter.
Quick Talrico's tweet on screen. He said the FCC banned our Colbert interview, and he's wrong about that. The FCC did not ban the interview, and that's what is actually so interesting about this. It's about the impression, the possibility of interference causing the networks to possibly self-censor.
And you got Colbert, big hissy fit, 508.
You know who is not one of my guests tonight? That's Texas State Representative James Tallarico. He was supposed to be here, but we were told in no uncertain terms by our network's lawyers, who called us directly, that we could not have him on the broadcast.
And it looks like Tallarico, to your point, Mr. Chairman, that he's taking advantage of this. 515.
FCC opening probe into The View after appearance by Tallarico. Do you mean to cause trouble?
I think that Donald Trump is worried that we're about to flip Texas.
So he's raised millions off that. What you just saw was actually they posted it to YouTube instead. I guess like 6 million people have tuned in. I mean, it's boomeranged very well for Tallarico. But you said this is dem on dem violence, Brendan. And the one person that's really upset is Jasmine Crockett.
MAGA operative.
Yeah, MAGA operative. She's actually the one calling, BS on all this. Again, so what is that part that they said the FCC probe into The View? Can you explain what that was about, that allegation?
There's a separate episode where The View, which is owned by Disney, did have Tallarico on the broadcast airwaves, and Disney has not established that program is a bona fide news program. So we've begun an enforcement actions into The View. Because if they are not bona fide news, again, we don't think they've established that at this point, then they would need to have offered, and frankly, they could still offer equal opportunity to the other candidates, including Jasmine Crockett. But this was, I don't think it was a sophisticated play, because you just have to understand the biases of the fake news media in order to run this. But, Tallarico effectively Streisand affected this one. So, hats off to him. But yeah, if I was Crockett, I'd be mad. In fact, Crockett came out the day that this happened and said this wasn't FCC censorship. This was Colbert and Tallarico deciding not to have her on the program for reasons that, you'll have to ask them.
And this is the key. This is essentially why the rule is important, Brendan, this equal time, because what you have instead, you don't have the voice of the people. You have elites at these networks that have basically put their thumb on the scale and said, we want Tallarico. We think he can beat whether it's Cornyn or Paxton. We think he's the guy to beat them, and we're going to prop this guy up.
Very good at these operations.
This is an elite gatekeeping in the old school model.
That's the whole point of the rule, was that Congress came in and said, we don't want media elites, media gatekeepers deciding the outcomes of primary or elections. We want the people to do it. We want the people of Texas to make their mind up without unlawful interference from media gatekeepers. The whole reason that the rule was in place.
Now, big picture, I think that is worth asking. You say that is Congress's intent, but this does date to when there were 2-3 network television outlets, some radio outlets, and that's what media was. Today, we have shows like this one. We have infinite podcasts, everything on social media. Do you think there's a case to be made? This is sort of an obsolete standard, that it infringes a little bit on freedom of speech, and there's so many ways to get your message out there now. What do you make of that overall?
There's a lot of reasonable people that say there's such a diversity of mechanisms to get your perspectives out there that we don't need those types of regulations. I guess I would say two things. One, it almost cuts the other way, because there's so many ways that you can get the message out: YouTube, podcasts, streaming, social media, that if you want to use that one medium that has just a unique set of rules, that you should do it, because it isn't really a constraint on you, because you can go somewhere else if you don't want to abide by the broadcast regulations. I guess the second point I'd make is that if people want to do that, then they can go to Congress and they can change the law. But, my job at this point is to enforce in a fair and balanced way the laws passed by Congress, and that's what we're going to be doing.
Brendan, thank you for separating fact from fiction in this. I call it the Colbert hoax because it's a complete. I mean, it's been a ratings boom for him. And by the way, his YouTube is 6 million views or something is what I saw. I didn't watch it, but anyways, Brendan Carr, chairman of the FCC, thank you for making the time and helping us out understand the Colbert hoax. I'm sure there'll be plenty more in the future.
Yeah, good to see you guys. Thanks.
Thanks, Brendan. All right, really quick, just want to tell you about our friends over at Strong Cell. Hour one was we took it. There's the proof. Every day on this show, we're taking it. Strong Cell, if you have been following the show for any amount of time, you've heard us talk about it, and you know that Charlie loved this product. They are proprietary delivery of an amazing enzyme called NADH is why it's all the rage. You used to have to go to an IV center, spend hundreds of bucks, and get it straight into your cells. They have figured out a way around that. That's what makes them unique. NADH, check it out. Now it comes with a 90-day money-back guarantee. This will power your cells if you're dealing with brain fog, fatigue, lack of energy, constant illness. Check it out. Go to strongcell.com, promo code Charlie for a 90-day money-back guarantee and 20% off your first order. Strongcell.com, promo code Charlie. We'll be right back.
The world doesn't slow down because you're tired. And weakness gets exposed. That's why the best take Go Pills. Born for military performance, built for high-pressure days when your brain has to move faster than the chaos. This is neurotransmitter support, helping your mind fire clean signals so you can process data fast, decide fast, and stay locked in when it matters. Packed with safe, proven ingredients designed to boost cognitive performance so you stay sharp under pressure. The most badass military in the world uses this kind of energy every day. Now you can too. From training to eliminate America's enemies to smoke-checking terrorists, Go Pills keep the mission fueled. Real world tested by high-level tactical communities. Now available to you. Greenlight the beast inside. Pop a Go Pill. Scan the QR code or go to gopills.com and use promo code REALAmerica for 15% off. Now is the moment to put your brand in front of an engaged, loyal audience through Real America's Voice. When you advertise on Real America's Voice, you're not just running an ad, you're partnering with trusted voices like Steve Bannon, Charlie Kirk, and other influential hosts. Backed by millions of monthly listeners.
What's happening? Because of a Real Voice, man. I watch it all the time.
Real America's Voice rocks.
Real America's Voice gives sponsors the chance to put their product front and center, displayed on screen and highlighted by our anchors during exclusive segments and live events.
Head to freetrumpknife.com.
This means your brand becomes part of the conversation as it happens.
Secure your spot before it's too late.
Join us today and make your brand part of the news conversation that America's viewers trust. Real America's Voice, where your message is seen, heard, and remembered.
My best message for them.
Welcome back to the Charlie Kirk Show. So we have been pounding these Olympians, rightfully so. Some of them have just really disgraced the country. But we only thought it was fair to contrast the losers with the winners. And in this case, it's actually true. The hockey team just beat, I believe, Sweden last night. I believe, and they're going on. But Blake is telling me that
they're going to the semis.
Blake is telling me that the Canadian team is stacked, and it's going to be an uphill battle.
We're playing Slovakia. Hopefully, we have the advantage over them. But if we win, and assuming Canada wins, we face them in the gold medal match, and they are being described as the greatest team ever assembled.
I'm curious though, if Canada beat France 10-2. But, who's in France? I mean, like, what players do they have in France?
There's lots of people in France.
No, as far as hockey players.
I'm sure they have players of some type.
But there's a clip that's going viral, Quinn Hughes, and we wanted to play it because, in the spirit of equal time that we just had with Brendan Carr from the FCC, we want to give equal time to the people that are actually honoring our country and doing it the right way. So God bless Quinn Hughes. He had some great things to say. 577.
Hell of a game out there. You took down the game winner. I mean, what did that feel like?
Yeah,
Yeah, just a relief. Just really enjoying being here with this group and the guys, and trying to extend it as long as I can.
Right on. And then USA flags all over the place. You could hear the chants. What's that atmosphere like?
Yeah, it's special. I mean, I love the U.S. and it's the greatest country in the world. So happy to represent it here with these guys, and it's really special.
That's the greatest country in the world. Happy to represent it here with these guys. It's really special.
That's awesome. But man, it is tough where we're just breaking news. U.S. athlete representing America likes America.
It's not the only one. I think here's the thing. And we talked about this. There were similar clips that went around at the Australian Open where you get these scumbag journalists that go around and they try and get clickbait. They try and get their headline. And so they ask, these leading questions. What's it like right now with everything going on in the United States? And that meanie President Trump is your president. What's it like? And so they bait these athletes that are not used to thinking deeply about political topics, and then they get their headlines, and then that's what happens. And in the case of the Australian Open, the same journalist was going around to all the Americans asking them the same question, and most of them answered it well. Some of them didn't. And you get the same thing at the Olympics. And so they're suckering these woke tards that are, giving them bad answers. So it's great when we get a Quinn Hughes type answer that we can all celebrate. And I would just say, there was that one classic clip from the last, I think it was the last Summer Olympics. It was that black gal that we played a couple weeks ago. She was just like, oh my gosh, I love America. I love America.
Overall, like what this is, it says much more about the press than anything, because that is what our press wants to do. That's what they want to feed. They want to make everything. They want to make everything about politics. They want to kind of stoke these things. And as part of, they've pointed out that Eileen Gu, who is from America but represents China because she makes a ton of money doing it. And you can watch her clips, and she basically has a different personality when she is appearing in Chinese media. Adopts a totally different demeanor. It is totally apolitical. It is totally just very sweet and pleasant and kind of feminine. And then if she's appearing in U.S. stuff, she's like, oh, well, now I'm in America. I have to maximize my brand. I'm going to shout out women's reproductive rights and promote these left-wing causes. Of course, it's all a sham. I don't think she genuinely believes any of these things. I think she just wants to be rich and make money. And in America, in the Bay Area, you do that by mouthing left-wing platitudes. And in China, you do that by being strictly apolitical and saying nothing about the government at all. And you don't rock the boat. And so that's what we have in China. That's what we have in America.
She's picked her team. Now it's important to do a update on the medal count here. So, we do have that clip. That was, okay, I brought it up. Let's play it. 579.
To represent your country like this.
It feels amazing. I love representing the U.S. I freaking love living there. I love it. And I'm so happy I get to represent USA.
It is a great clip. That is a very immortal one.
That was from the 2020 Tokyo Olympics. All right, so the medal count now, we are
getting killed by Norway.
No, okay. Well, Norway, I don't know what their deal is, but it's a very cold place, so they have lots of medals. 34 medals for Norway, 26 for Italy, but we've closed the gap. We are 25. The United States has 25 medals. France has 19. Again, France. I don't know what it is about France, but I look at France every time and I'm like, I don't buy it. Like, I think
my favorite is Brazil has a gold medal, and it's a Norwegian person who just moved to Brazil and decided to play for their Olympic team for some reason. And so they have a gold medal in Olympic skiing.
All right. The last thing I want to talk about here is the Board of Peace. It convened. It almost is like Trump is establishing a supranational organization outside of the UN on purpose to snub the UN. And so we've got some clips here of President Trump doing this Board of Peace with Javier Milei, Turkey, Kazakhstan. I mean, it's kind of a coalition of the willing, I would put it that way. Do we have 580 loaded yet? 580, please.
And finally, to the American people, I think it's important that the American people recognize why we're here today. And the reason that we're here today is, yes, to save lives and, yes, to promote peace. But this creates incredible prosperity for the American people. The countries represented here represent trillions of dollars of investment in the United States of America that would not have been possible without this president's leadership and advocacy for peace. The economies here represent millions of American jobs of people who are receiving products built in American factories and made by American workers would not be possible without a focus on peace. So, Mr. President, while I think this is great for the world, I also think it's really, really great for the United States of America. So we're looking forward to the partnership.
So President Trump is the chairman. The executive board, which focuses on diplomacy and investments, is Marco Rubio, Secretary of State, Steve Witkoff, Jared Kushner, Tony Blair, the former UK
back?
Prime Minister, Mark Rowan, CEO of the Apollo Global Management, Ajay Banga, the World Bank president, Robert Gabriel Jr., U.S. Deputy National Security Advisor, and Nikolay Mladenov, a high representative for Gaza, former UN envoy. And there's a number of countries, like I said, there was 40 folks there on stage with President. Again, it seems like a move where President Trump has been largely snubbed by the international organizations. He's building his own. And I find the timing of it to be somewhat ironic, with the Iranian strike potentially imminent right now.
Well, the name is clearly the biggest thing. He campaigned for the Nobel Peace Prize last year. It was kind of an unprecedented thing, but a very Trumpian thing. Imagine leaders competing to see who can end the most wars. I mean, it's a fun thing to see that.
By the way, he has a great track record ending wars. So let's pray for peace. That's the final word I'll say to you today. Pray for peace in Iran. Let's focus on our country. I think that's what we all want. But sometimes you have to trust the leaders you elected. And so that's our position. We'll see you tomorrow.
The world doesn't slow down because you're tired. And weakness gets exposed. That's why the best take Go Pills. Born for military performance, built for high-pressure days when your brain has to move faster than the chaos. This is neurotransmitter support, helping your mind fire clean signals so you can process data fast, decide fast, and stay locked in when it matters. Packed with safe, proven ingredients designed to boost cognitive performance so you stay sharp under pressure. The most badass military in the world uses this kind of energy every day. Now you can too. From training to eliminate America's enemies to smoke-checking terrorists, Go Pills keep the mission fueled. Real world tested by high-level tactical communities. Now available to you. Greenlight the beast inside. Pop a Go Pill. Scan the QR code or go to GoPills.com and use promo code RealAmerica for 15% off. Now is the moment to put your brand in front of an engaged, loyal audience through Real America's Voice. When you advertise on Real America's Voice, you're not just running an ad, you're partnering with trusted voices like Steve Bannon, Charlie Kirk, and other influential hosts. Backed by millions of monthly listeners.
What's happening? Because of a Real Voice, man. I watch it all the time.
Real America's Voice rocks.
Real America's Voice gives sponsors the chance to put their product front and center, displayed on screen and highlighted by our anchors during exclusive segments and live events.
Head to freetrumpknife.com.
This means your brand becomes part of the conversation as it happens.
Secure your spot before it's too late.
Join us today and make your brand part of the news conversation that America's viewers trust. Real America's Voice, where your message is seen, heard, and remembered. Now is the moment to put your brand in front of an engaged, loyal audience through Real America's Voice. When you advertise on Real America's Voice, you're not just running an ad, you're partnering with trusted voices like Steve Bannon, Charlie Kirk, and other influential hosts. Backed by millions of monthly listeners.
What's happening? Because of a Real Voice, man. I watch it all the time.
Real America's Voice rocks.
Real America's Voice gives sponsors the chance to put their product front and center, displayed on screen and highlighted by our anchors during exclusive segments and live events.
Head to freetrumpknife.com.
This means your brand becomes part of the conversation as it happens.
Secure your spot before it's too late.
Join us today and make your brand part of the news conversation that America's viewers trust. Real America's Voice, where your message is seen, heard, and remembered.